Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the October the 17th, 2023 regular meeting of the Baldwin County Commission. And at this time, I've asked Commissioner Underwood to lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge from Commissioner McKenzie.
Thank you. If you would bow with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We just thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us, Lord. And we just ask that you be with us today, Lord, as we conduct the business of Baldwin County. Lord, just be with all of our citizens and our first responders. And Lord, we just ask you to look after Israel. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 Please join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, do I hear a motion that we adopt the minutes from our October the 3rd, 2023 regular meeting?
So moved.
I got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie.
Second, yeah.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. All right. Next is the payment of the bills.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve payment of the bills and distribution of taxes which are listed in the Baldwin County accounts payable payments.
Second.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner Ball. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Okay. Next is consent agenda.
Yes, sir. Next, you have our consent agenda, which was approved yesterday. Just note that two items, GA1 and GA2, are moved up to consent. Other than that, is the rest of the agenda is as it was presented yesterday for your approval today.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt our consent agenda with the items GA1 and GA2 included.
I'll second that.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to accept the consent agenda with items GA1 and GA2 included in it. All right, any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, the only thing that I'd like to say on CJ3 is that I hope the town of Magnolia Springs will look at, will reconsider what they're doing and let the Sheriff's Department, have a contract with them. I just hope the City Council will look at that again. Because it's good to have the Sheriff's Department there.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. All right, next.
Yes, sir. Next, we have a couple presentations. There are two resolutions regarding to recognize two retirements out of the Sheriff's Office.
Okay. This is a resolution commending Zeddy Anderson upon the occasion of her retirement as Lieutenant of the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office and for her years of distinguished public service. Whereas Lieutenant Zeddy Anderson graduated from Baldwin County High School and obtained her associate's degree from Faulkner Community College, and whereas Lieutenant Anderson began her law enforcement career as a Jailer 1 with the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office on January the 22nd, 1993, and whereas Lieutenant Anderson received the Alabama Office Administrator Certification in 2002 from Auburn University Center for Governmental Affairs, and whereas Lieutenant Anderson has been recognized with various professional accolades, including Employee of the Year for the Baldwin County Correction Center, and whereas Lieutenant Anderson served as POD Supervisor, Commissary Accountant, Visitation Supervisor, Intake Officer, Records Clerk, Postal Officer, and Food Services Supervisor. And whereas Lieutenant Anderson was promoted through the ranks of Corporal, Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, and reached the rank of Lieutenant in 2019. And whereas Lieutenant Anderson has served under two sheriffs of Baldwin County, Sheriff James B. Johnson and Sheriff Huey Hoss Mack. And whereas Lieutenant Anderson has positively impacted the lives of many people incarcerated in the Baldwin County Correction Center. And whereas Lieutenant Anderson has led and trained numerous corrections officers on the proper policies and procedures to ensure the job was done correctly, and those in the care and custody of the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office were treated with respect. And whereas Lieutenant Anderson developed a comprehensive amount of knowledge and experience of the law enforcement processes, which enabled her to be of immense value to the Sheriff's Office, the Corrections Center, and the county. And whereas with Lieutenant Anderson's many accomplishments and over 30 years of law enforcement and serving the public, it is only fitting that this honorable county governing body publicly recognize and commend Lieutenant Anderson for her distinguished public service. Now therefore be it resolved by the Baldwin County Commission in regular session assembled that on behalf of the Baldwin County Commission and the citizens of Baldwin County, Alabama, we hereby gratefully commend Lieutenant Zeddy Anderson on the occasion of her retirement from public service and recognize her distinguished and committed public service. Further be it resolved that a copy of this resolution recorded in the official minutes of this honorable county governing body and codified as resolution number 2024-022 of the Baldwin County Commission be conveyed to Lieutenant Zeddy Anderson in sincere praise for her years of distinguished public service as well as for her many outstanding accomplishments.
I would like to say that I have enjoyed working for the Correction Center and wish I could continue my career, but there's a reason that I have to stop. I also would like to say that I thank everyone that's in the Sheriff's Office for providing us with the knowledge that we have, the training that they have given us, and all the equipment that we have, to our searching guys who's always there to protect us. And I would like to say to all of you all, I love you, Baldwin County Sheriff's Office family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We all come back and get pictures of that.
All right, Commissioners, do I hear a motion that we adopt resolution number 2024-022?
So moved.
Second?
Got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to recognize Lieutenant Zeddy Anderson in resolution 2024-022. Any further discussion?
Yes, Commissioner Gruber, I'd just like to say thank you, Zeddy, for your many years of service. Since 1993, you've been in the jail. I think there's law enforcement's law enforcement, and then you got the law enforcement inside the jail, whole nother different mindset. mental stuff, emotions, everything that goes on in that facility, and to have been there since 1993, it's a well-deserved retirement. So I can't even imagine what goes on inside that facility on a daily basis that always keeps y'all working and on your toes. And I commend each and every one of our first responders and law enforcement personnel that work not only on the roads but also in our correctional facility, as we do support the whole entire sheriff's department. So y'all are a crucial part of what we do in our law enforcement here in Baldwin County, and y'all do it without hardly ever complaining. The jail is run in a fashion that the people of this county should be proud of, and one of these days you can come back and visit the new facility that we're finishing up, but just good luck in all your future endeavors. You're in our prayers. If you ever need anything, we're all phone calls away. And thank you again, Zeddy, for your contribution to this county and the citizens of this county. It means a lot. Thank you.
Lieutenant, I'd just like to say congratulations. Over 30 years is awesome. It takes a special person to be in law enforcement and a special person to work in the correction facility. So thank you again. I don't have to say anything more. It's just awesome what you've done, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Anderson. Just reading this resolution is a testament to all you have accomplished, how you've risen through the ranks, how you've persevered. 1993, that's a good long career. And I know you said you didn't really want to go, but whatever season there is in our lives that lead us to something new, I just wish you all the best, and just know we're always here if you give us a call if we can help you with anything. Thank you so much for your years of service.
Lieutenant Anderson, thank you so very much for your service. 30 years is a long time to put into law enforcement. I know you've seen a lot of changes coming up through the ranks, and we appreciate what you and your colleagues do in our county facility. Corrections is a little bit different game than anybody ever want to think about. Y'all have a challenge, and y'all have been able to meet that challenge and take care of the folks that are being incarcerated in the jail. So thank you so very much for your leadership. Thank you. All right, Commissioners, I've got the motion, I've got the second. We've had discussion, and so all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Next is DA2, which is another resolution, 2024-03, retirement of Corporal John Garner, Baldwin County Sheriff's Office.
Where's Miss Gardner? You know I'm going to ask you to come up here. This is about you too. This is special. A resolution commending John Gardner upon the occasion of his retirement as a corporal of the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office and for his years of distinguished public service. Whereas Corporal John Gardner joined the Baldwin County Sheriff's Office as a communication officer in February of 1990, and whereas Corporal Gardner was promoted to the position of deputy in April of 1991, and whereas Corporal Gardner was recognized with a Distinguished Service Award by the Baldwin County Commission in 1999 and received a commendation in 2022 for his courage and sense of duty while intervening during an armed robbery in progress, and whereas Corporal Gardner held the position of investigator, patrol deputy, civil deputy, and was promoted to the rank of corporal. And whereas Corporal Gardner served as an emergency response team as a field training officer, and whereas Corporal Gardner has served under two sheriffs of Baldwin County, Sheriff James B. Johnson and Sheriff Huey Hoffs Mack, and whereas Corporal Gardner developed a comprehensive amount of knowledge and experience of law enforcement processes, which enabled him to be an immense value to the Sheriff's Office and the Baldwin County. And whereas with Corporal Gardner's many accomplishments over the 33 years of law enforcement and serving the public, it is only fitting that this honorable county governing body publicly recognize and commend Corporal Gardner for his distinguished public service. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Baldwin County Commission in regular session assembled that on behalf of the Baldwin County Commission and the citizens of Baldwin County, Alabama, we hereby gratefully commend Corporal John Gardner on the occasion of his retirement from public service and recognize his distinguished and committed public service. Further, be it resolved that a copy of this resolution recorded in the official minutes of this honorable county governing body and codified as Resolution 2024-023 of the Baldwin County Commission be conveyed to Corporal John Gardner in sincere praise for his years of distinguished public service, as well as for many outstanding accomplishments. It's just an honor to be up here with him. I used to work with him many years ago, and it's just an honor to see these people retire and to be here and to see this. So I'm really proud of you, Corporal Gardner, and your family. So I just want to give congratulations.
I just want to thank y'all. I've had a lot of years here. I've enjoyed every one of them, mostly because I work with a great group of men and women. I want to thank them for being there for me also. Thank y'all.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
I'll do just a picture.
Oh, picture.
I want to say one thing. The family, the wife, or the better part of does not get recognized a lot during these type of things. And the wife goes through just as much as what he goes through, or the other partner. So I just want to really stress that for her. She deserves this too.
This one.
All right, that should. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this. And I'll ask.
Commissioners, do I hear a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-023?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion by Commissioner. Okay, well, let's do discussion first. Right?
Okay.
We get the motion in second out the way.
Huh?
You got the motion second, we're in discussion. Y'all just start off by saying, just with the two, I'm just adding it up here, 63 years of service. That's a lot that walks out these doors today at one time. And it takes, it may take more nowadays, body-wise and people-wise, to fulfill 63 years of service instead of just two people. John, I was just kidding around with you about that. Your date, and when you started this, me and your wife are just getting out of high school. And so, 33 years is a long time doing what you've been doing. So I commend you and appreciate friendships, your service to this community, your service to Baldwin County and the Sheriff's Office is greatly appreciated. And it's been a pleasure to be a part of what you do and how you carry yourself. I mean, it's hard to even get you to talk sometimes, but every now and then we get the conversation stricken up because John's real quiet sometimes, and he just, I've just known him about my whole entire life, and he does a great job, and he's going to be greatly missed by this county, but I know he's probably got some things he's looking forward to as well, and congratulations on your retirement. And Melissa, I guess you just don't have to stay at work. So once both of you retire, then those guys may be called out to your house, right? And break up some fights and stuff. No, I'm just kidding with y'all. But anyway, sometimes we got to laugh in here, and I've been out for a couple meetings, and I got to get the laughter going back in here because But these days, this is a serious moment, and I appreciate you, John. I appreciate what you've done for this community, and especially the North Baldwin Inn. So thank you.
Corporal, just thank you again. I worked with you many years ago, and it's a blessing to know you and your team and who you are. Melissa, I worked with you when you was an assistant, so it's about her too. A lot of people don't realize, and I said this earlier, but the wife goes through it just as much as what they go through as law enforcement. So just thank you again. Enjoy your retirement. There is something to do after retirement. There is politics, so look into that if you want to.
Thank you, Corporal. Just like Jeb said, 33 years. I got married in 1990, so that seems like a long time ago to me. And then when he said the two numbers together, 30 and 33, 63, that's how old my husband's going to be this year. So I guess, I don't know why I'm thinking about him this morning, but it's about you. But thank you so much for your years of service. And it almost seems like it's a vapor, to be honest with you. Time just goes so fast, but I am just so proud of all of our law enforcement here in Baldwin County, particularly our sheriff's office, and especially since I became a commissioner, I have a whole new, I always appreciated you guys, but I have a whole new outlook as to everything that goes on now, and you guys, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you so much.
Corporal Garner, 33 years is a long time, and you've seen a lot. You worked for two different sheriffs, and your testimony to what the Sheriff's Department does is protecting the citizens of Baldwin County. Y'all got made a lot of accomplishments throughout the years, and it's just a great pleasure to have y'all working for the county because the citizens depend on y'all to help them with their needs as far as safety or whatever it goes. And we appreciate all the hard work that you've committed, and your wife also, for all what you've done too, because like Commissioner McKenzie said, it affects y'all just as much as anything else, especially in law enforcement. When you leave the morning, you don't know what's going to happen, nowadays especially. And, we keep y'all in our prayers every day, hoping that everything will work out. So, again, thank you so very much on your retirement, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, Commissioners, all in favor of adopting Resolution 2024-23, retirement of Corporal John Garner, Baldwin County Sheriff's Department, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it. Next.
Yes, sir. Next up, we have public hearings. First up is planning and zoning. We have 6 of them, starting off with case number TA 23001, miscellaneous text amendments to the Baldwin County zoning ordinance.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. This is text amendment 23001. This is our staff report. This is a fairly complicated text amendment. I'm going to kind of give a quick background and explain how we're going to process through this. There are really 4 different topics in this text amendment. And the first one, which is the most complicated, has come through several months, in fact, almost a year at this point, of working with the citizens of Lillian who have had questions and concerns about the local provisions for this area. So for the public here today, the Planning and Zoning Department does administer 6 different regulatory documents. One of those is the zoning ordinance, and that's the one we're looking at. There's a process to amend that document. It starts with staff, working with staff, and then it goes before the Planning Commission for a public hearing. They make a recommendation, and then there's a final public hearing in front of the County Commission. I do want to give a quick shout out to our team. We are pulling together numbers for the year-end report, working with Frank on that. And this year we've done almost 300 case presentations at about 50 different public meetings. And I just want to give a shout out to them for that. Okay, so this is the 4 different sections of this. The first one is what we'll call the Lillian, Alberta local provisions, which is Planning District 22, 29, and 33. Those are the most complicated ones. We'll spend the most of the time on that. Then we have some local provisions requested by the citizens of Planning District 19, quite a bit simpler. And then Planning District 26, which is just 1 paragraph. And then we have a couple full ordinance changes, which are some of the ones that Commissioner Gruber brought up briefly yesterday. We're going to look at these one at a time, and we're going to ask you to actually take a vote on them one at a time to just refer them to the full resolution. And then any that go to the full resolution, there'll be a final vote at the end. Any that, if there are some that you'd want to defer or not adopt, those just won't get rolled into that resolution. And then we'll work with staff to clean up that final document that gets published. Okay, so the first ones, which are Planning Districts 22, 29, and 33, you can see those circled on the map here. Just for reference, this is a ballpark boundary showing that entire area with the zoning flipped on. You can see that most of the area is green. There are some exceptions where there are areas that are yellow, and in those cases, in almost every situation, in those cases, there used to be an option to do an administrative rezoning to RSF1. That no longer exists. It was in the statute for years and then removed from the statute. And so that's how a lot of that yellow popped in there. But otherwise, you can see it's primarily a rural agricultural area, and that's what caused these citizens to kind of come forward. In the way that we worked with the citizens on this, they had some concerns that staff was limiting what they could put in front of y'all. So we worked with Roger. You might remember this was one of the first tasks y'all gave him on his first day as county administrator, to help coordinate this process. And we decided to let them pitch something, and then staff would just kind of highlight where we had concerns in this. So I have the text is colored in here in 2 different colors. The black text is stuff that's very common, I should say. We've seen it in other local planning districts, and it's generally been adopted, and staff really doesn't have much in the way of concern. The blue text represents changes that these citizens are proposing that's different from what we've seen in the past. And then we had these little comment boxes showing where staff had some concerns, and I'm going to highlight those. You'll also notice on the screen that really there's been a little bit of controversy that's drummed up with these local provisions, and they can be summarized in 3 points. The first is that they're proposing a new RSF 1.5 zoning. And currently we have RSF 2 zoning, which is a 15,000 square foot lot, so that's close to 3 units per acre. And then we have an RSF 1 zoning, which is 30,000 square foot lots, which is like 1.2 units per acre. And these citizens felt like, well, we feel like that's a huge gap. We should have something in between, which is a half-acre lot, essentially. So they're proposing a new RSF 1.5, 2 units per acre. Staff is not saying that that's without merit. It does kind of open up a can of worms. I think that's maybe our biggest concern there. The other thing was then limiting 2 units per acre to be the maximum density in most of this district. And you saw how big these districts are, the amount of area that they cover. And then the third, and this one was far less controversial, but reducing density of mobile home parks from 6 units per acre to 3 units per acre. We've commonly allowed districts to drop that to 4 units per acre. Going to 3 units per acre, we start to get concerned a little bit that maybe they're making mobile home parks economically unfeasible, and we start to get a little bit concerned there. Okay. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these next several slides because, again, most of these are routine They're major changes, but they're routine in the sense that we've seen these in a lot of local districts. I'm going to stop on those controversial items. Okay, so this next slide, you can see the table that limits where they can get higher density zonings. And we see this in a lot of districts, but again, this is impacting a huge area. So they've identified some intersections. I'm going to go to the next slide, which shows a map, and that kind of highlights those. So you can see one centered in the town of Alberta, and that's because of the zoned areas around there. Naturally, we expect more dense uses and commercial uses to go in that area. You can keep moving down here. You have County Road 95 and US 98 that has one of the intersections. That limits to certain types of zoning, RTF 6, which is residential 2-family 6, RSF 6, but all that's within 0.25 miles or a quarter mile of that intersection. They're saying if you want higher density there, it's limited to this location. Again, you keep moving east, you get all the way to the coastline and Lillian. You can see where they're limiting some of the zonings that take place in that area as well. Historically, why this has been more controversial, historically we have said you can request RSF2 outside of these areas, and we're not limiting anything. RSF2 are lower outside. They're proposing this RSF 1.5, limiting it to the 2 units per acre. And the reason staff has had some concern about that, you might look and say, well, that's rural area, that's not even appropriate for half-acre lots, Matthew. Well, that is the purpose of zoning. If zoning's being done properly, that should handle that. And that our analysis should make that determination that it's not compatible, and we shouldn't have these. We should be cautious about how far we go with blanket restrictions, which is why we have said RSF2 is kind of where we've capped it. I'm going to continue moving down through these since we've hit on the controversial ones. Everything else is items that's been common in other districts, updated traffic study requirements, drainage requirements, some small changes to PRD requirements. And so that brings us to our final slide for these local provisions. And again, I've re-summarized the controversial items. And I do know that some of you have had citizens who've reached out and had some concerns about how much notice folks have received for this. Because it's a zoning amendment, there's nothing beyond the newspaper notices and things of that. And then the citizens, we ask the citizens to make sure that they're engaging the community. So you do have the option as the commission that you could make a determination that additional input and review is needed and defer the Planning District 22, 29, and 33 amendments in order to allow for such additional input and review with reconsideration set for the December 5th regular meeting. Just letting you know that that's an option. What we would encourage, Mr. Chairman, at this point is for any members of the public who want to address these Lillian, Alberta items to go ahead and do that right now before we go to the next section of these text amendments.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm calling public hearing to order for case number TA 23001, miscellaneous text amendments to the Baldwin County zoning ordinance. Have we got anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. I have 5 people, but none of them indicated which of the 3 areas or 4 areas that they're actually going to address. So I'm not sure which ones.
So yes, this would just be for Lillian.
Just for Lillian. It'll be yes, correct.
All right, so maybe call them off and we'll see if, I think most of them are probably here for this one.
Well, I do actually have one that did indicate that they're here for District 19. The other ones I have is Sandra Faust.
So, Ms. Sandra, you can go ahead and come on up and address the commission.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, my name is Sandra Faust. Thank you so much for the opportunity to address the County Commission about the current and future planning and zoning decisions for not only District 22, but also zoning throughout Baldwin County. I know in the past few years, development throughout the county has been a very hot topic of debate and some confusion. Recently, I have experienced that confusion firsthand. I own, along with my brother and sister, 360 acres of land in District 22. Currently zoned agricultural, the property is located between County Road 83 and 87. About 20 years ago, my father started purchasing parcels of land that made up 400 acres total. In 2016, 39 acres was donated to the City of Alberta to be used by the people of Alberta or for a school. I'm sorry.
You're okay.
Can somebody finish this for me? I'm a little nervous.
Do you want me to read it for you?
I wouldn't mind, if you don't mind.
I'll be happy to, Sandy. Tell me where we at.
Right
We
here.
understand.
Okay, all right, back. Okay. Recently, I have, okay, let's see. About 20 years ago, my father started purchasing parcels of land that made up 400 acres total. In 2016, 39 acres was donated to the City of Alberta to be used by the people of Alberta or for a school. This past spring, the deed to the 39 acres was finally transferred to the Baldwin County Board of Education from the town of Alberta to begin construction on a middle school for the community. We hope, and it was my father's wish, that the remaining 360 acres would be sold and a community would be created. Since making the decision to sell the property, we have discovered the planning and zoning provisions planned for District 22 are extreme and lean toward the property remaining rural agricultural. The problem with that plan is that I am not a farmer, and the minimum amount that we lease the farmland for is used to cover taxes and any expenses to maintain the property. As a lifelong resident of Baldwin County, I take great pride where I live. Planning and zoning done correctly is essential to a successful community, but in this scenario, please understand the typical landowners like myself do not have millions of dollars in the bank, and there's no stock in the stock market. Our nest egg is our land. I'm asking you to please table today's vote so we, as property owners, have an opportunity to meet with you in the Planning and Zoning Department to discuss and understand the changes in the zoning that will have a direct effect on us as property owners.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Sandy.
All right.
Everybody,
Commissioner,
Sam
any questions?
Davis.
All right, next. Try to please limit it to 3 minutes if y'all will, please.
It'll be less than that. First of all, I'm in the Alberta area, not this particular district, but I'm sandwiched up next to it. This was not, I'm sure it was legally noticed, as it should be, but it was not widely publicized. The Alberta Co-op, Davis Auto Parts, the two hardware stores in Alberta, where most of the large landowners go, there was never a petition in any of those offices. So I would respectfully request that y'all delay this to get more time for input from the larger landowners down there to determine if they really want to do this, because this is going to decrease their property values and it's going to increase the cost of building, which is going to affect workforce housing, which we don't have enough of as is. So the more expensive you make it, the more people you basically cut out of the market. So that's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next.
Next, I have David Williams.
Good morning, I'm David Williams. I live in Planning District 22. The last changes to the current ordinances that we hold are November of 2002. Those ordinances state we restrict accessory buildings to 60% of the gross area, and for PRD development, we limit height restrictions to no greater than 10 feet. That was only two ordinances in there for 20-something years. As development has grown in Baldwin County and specifically this area, we as the citizens thought, wow, it's changing rapidly. What do we do? Well, we're working with Director Brown and his staff and stuff to grow in a logical and desirable manner, which maintains our rural character, which makes this a highly desirable place to live. We have come up with these text amendments. We've held public meetings, town halls, published it in the newspapers. The text amendments have been published in the newspapers, trying to inform everybody. We've had resounding responses from the community supporting these, with no opposition at any of the meetings that have been held. However, there's opposition. I totally understand that. For almost 2 years, we have gone through this process, and where Director Brown stated, gone down to 0.5 acres. Originally, that started out at 1 acre. But working with the planning and zoning staff, that's why we came down to half, to be more reasonable, which does control growth, which does maintain our community. We are not against growth in our community. We just want it done in a controlled fashion, which maintains our rural character. Once again, like I say, still making this a desirable place to live, vice these rapid development growths that have taken place. The citizen stakeholders of these planning districts have spoken. They've spoken very loudly. The county has spoken through our vision of growth. When you look at the surveys taken, all the responses and concerns are pretty much the same. So we as the citizens of these community request that you approve these text amendments as written. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Next I have a Bill Gonzalez.
I really don't have anything much to add. I'd just like to say that I agree totally with David Williams.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the only other person I've signed up is for District 19. I don't have anybody else for Lillian.
Okay.
Now, Ms. Tracy Gamble, did you not sign up to speak?
I thought I was the applicant, more or less.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, do you mind if she actually brought a small
No,
presentation? She understands she has 3 minutes.
If you want to speak, you can.
You're not technically the applicant, you're just so you would be up next to speak then.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's see where this computer goes. So, yes, we have been working on this on the first 289 registered voter signatures that we obtained were on November 8th, 2022. So in just a couple of weeks, that will be 1 full year. We have advertised in the Lillian paper for 11 months running, including my email address and everything that has been transpiring every time we have a meeting at Planning and Zoning or before the commissioners. We have addressed other matters that have come before you and kept the public informed as best we could with these articles in the newspaper, sometimes even being located on the front page of the Lillian. And I'm sure Mr. Gruber reads the Lillian paper, so he can probably testify to that. Also, in January the 10th, we had a town hall. We also have publicized every single time that we are ready to do anything regarding the public. We have had on the Nextdoor app many notices, Facebook, including pages with Alberta included, even though this Planning District 29 is unincorporated Alberta, not the town of Alberta. We do have the activity nodes as well that are in Alberta, and that extends out to 1 mile. Rural Neighborhood Center at 98 and 91. That extends for a 1/4 mile. And Lillian itself, right there at the intersection of County Road 99 and Highway 98. And that is a 0.75 mile radius. The other areas we feel are highly rural, as you could see from the green on the map that Mr. Brown showed you. In many cases, in the future land use guide, 82% of the people that were surveyed over the last, I believe, year and a half before the approval of that document was obtained, there were 82% of the people said their number one area of concern was the loss of rural areas and agriculture. They also mentioned number 3 as an area of where to improve. Number 3 was sprawling development. We feel the same, and that is the entire Baldwin County, not just our planning districts. The entire citizens of the county that were surveyed by Design Workshop and the Planning Commission. I'm going to go through my presentation quickly because I don't want to belabor anything. So as Mr. Williams said, we only had 2 ordinances. Those have been absorbed by the full ordinances of the county. I have the dates here for our community support and the notices given, and I had just told you about those.
Ms. Gamble, your 3 minutes are up. You know, we...
Oh, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. May I conclude?
Yes, conclude real quick.
Okay. We are just asking for reasonable growth. We do not want to infringe on any property owner's rights. We just don't want to be overrun. And we also are the facts prove that more housing does not necessarily equate to less cost. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
This was handed another form for Mr. Forrest Gibbs.
All right.
Thank you. I have property me and my partner have property in the Alberta area, right off 87, just north of 98. And I learned about this meeting and what was going on just a couple of days ago by a telephone call. I don't get the newspaper, and maybe I'm sort of disconnected or whatever, and that's my problem, and it ain't everybody else's. But I would encourage y'all, before you go and vote and change, it's hard to go back. You can always go forward. You can always postpone the inevitable of what somebody may want to do today. What you do today could very well be done in 2 weeks or 30 days. But it would appear to me that the landowners ought to be notified in some kind of sentences or in writing or whatever, where these changes are going to immediately take place. The 40 acres that I'm referring to, we've got a platted subdivision there, and we did not go forward with it. I'm going to say approximately 8 years ago. It was shovel-ready, approved by the county. I actually got it in the truck. Due to the economic times at the time, we thought it was a bad idea to move forward. We have a lot of money invested in the property, and it's a lifelong investment, and we've got 2 deals working on it right now. The way I understand, if it goes forward, it's going to affect this property. We can tear up everything we've done, and it's over with because we hadn't broke ground and gone forward. But I would love to see you give it some more consideration. Notify the people in writing. They get a sent out to where you can say, hey, we're fixing to make changes, versus just relying on them to hear like I did or I read it in the newspaper. You know, a lot of times when you make these changes, and it really doesn't make no difference on what people own, but there's a lot of people got major investment in this county in their retirement and their livelihood, just like this lady right here. Her dad had the foresight to want something better for the community and certainly better for his children. So this ain't just about, hey, we want to have Never Ever Wonderland. This is about a lifelong deal that families, you know, a lot of families, they plan for their children and their future. So I would encourage you to table it, notify everybody, and then move forward. Thank you.
Thank you much. All right. That's it. All right. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this issue? Hearing none. Public hearing is now closed.
Matthew, what, are we doing just one vote on this one?
You want to know if we want to include this in the resolution or if we want to table it?
That's correct. So this is the first of the text amendment items, and so the question is, do we want to table this one until December 5th?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we table.
And
I'll second.
And for the record, we're going to go ahead and schedule it for December 5th, and we don't have to, I don't think we'll have to republish everything because it's declared here that we're reconsidering it on the 5th.
Okay, I got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie, to table this till December the 5th. And at that time, we will readdress this and give some time to get some more clarity on it. Any further discussion?
No, I'd just like to say thank y'all for doing this, because this is something that's very serious for that area, and I'd like to have more time, so thank y'all for, doing this. So thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I know you guys have been working almost a year on this, and I applaud everybody's efforts because we all want to have responsible growth regardless of what people's different viewpoints may be on that. So, but as far as from the commission level, I think we need a little bit more time because we've not been the ones in those meetings, okay? You guys have been working hard, but, there's just a process involved, and it's not necessarily appropriate for us to be in those meetings at that point in time. Y'all, citizens need to be involved, and I do want to notify everyone. That's going to be almost impossible because that's not what the law really requires, and it's so hard to notify every single body. But everybody that's in this room, whether you might not be here for that, there's plenty of people here for other things, but it's up to people to tell other people because, I don't exactly understand, but we have complied with the proper notification. But one of the reasons I want to table this is not because of improper notification, it's because we need more time to make sure we're making the right decisions. Okay?
Okay. All right. And all in favor signify, before I do that, now this is just on, we're talking about this portion of the text amendment, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So, all right. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it.
All right, I'm going to fly through these next portions because they're pretty straightforward. Planning District 19 local provisions. You can see where Planning District 19 is. It's a very small district. It was the first district in about 10 years, and so they were going through local provisions for the first time, and now that they've seen what some of the other areas have done, they just want to tweak. There's a little, again, the black text represents verbatim text to what other similar districts have adopted recently. The red text is the only unique, substantively unique new provision, and it basically says that if you're going to do a commercial type project, because it's a smaller district with a lot of residential neighborhoods and it's visible from a residential area, you just need to have landscape buffers up, making it so that way that commercial facility isn't impacting the residential areas. Pretty straightforward provision there. There's one other provision, and this is also going to be the only one with Planning District 26 here in a second, is that they are limiting upzonings utilizing the future land use map. And you might remember there was some controversy that came with a zoning in this area a couple years ago. In fact, the county, there was a lawsuit that was filed against the county over it that's been dismissed since then. And it basically says that in areas that are under the future land use map that are shown as conservation areas because there are wetlands and everything, that you can't upzone in those areas. Very similar to the way it's done in Fort Morgan for flood-prone areas. So again, those are the Planning District 19 local provisions. Planning District 26 now, again, just one paragraph, and this says in those two areas, which is the dark green and the next level green up, that you're not limited on what you can do, but you can't request higher density zonings. And again, this is Planning District 26, tons of wetlands through that area. And so in those areas, again, not restricting what you can do, just saying, hey, you can't upzone this to a higher density zoning in areas that are wetlands and things like that. Again, that's defined by this future land use map that was done as part of the Guide to Growth. We do have a couple miscellaneous full ordinance changes that I'll cover real quickly. The first two are what came from recent rezoning cases, and I'll just read one of these. It says, for RSF1 agricultural uses on RSF1 zone parcels that otherwise meet the minimum area and dimension requirements for rural agricultural district properties, agricultural uses shall be permitted uses. And we do have a minimum setback for an agricultural building. So basically, remember all these cases y'all have been getting where they're down zoning to RA so they can put a barn on there or something?
Yeah.
This basically is going to remove those cases and say y'all do agricultural uses as long as you're 3 acres or more.
That's a big help.
Partial.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thank you.
And so that'll apply to RSF1 and RSF2 zonings only. We have some things to clarify the application process. This is what we do already, but just so that way citizens are on notice on that. And then some cleanup language that just clarifies how we measure distance for setbacks, non-controversial stuff, but just to make sure it's clear in the ordinance. And so the staff's recommendation, the Planning Commission recommended approval of these changes. Staff recommends approval, and of course, we've already deferred the Lillian, Alberta district changes to December 5th. And we do have one person who did sign up to speak, but she told me she's only if you all have any questions for her, Miss Elizabeth, for Planning District 19.
Do I need to call another one call that into?
Yes, sir.
I think you technically do need to reopen it.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll call this public hearing for case number TA 23001 for Planning District 19. Correct?
It'll be for the rest of the text
and
amendment.
for the rest of the text message, text amendments to the amendment. Okay? So we do have somebody signed up that would like to speak.
I believe she deferred unless there are any questions, so unless there's anybody else.
All right, does anybody else want to speak on this issues with the rest of the text ordinance? If not, public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adopt and approve staff's recommendations regarding the remainder of these text amendments that has been brought before us by our Planning and Zoning Department.
I'll second it.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to approve the remainder of the text amendments to the Baldwin County zoning ordinance. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Okay. All right, next.
Next, we have case number Z23-20, Smith property rezoning.
All right, this is a request to rezone a little over 20 acres from RSF2 to RA. It's located in Planning District 12.
Hey, Selena, if you don't mind, we need to get on the screens.
Located in Planning District 12. It's currently zoned RSF2, and the applicant is asking that it be rezoned to RA. It contains 38 acres, and it's located in the Loxley area. The applicant would like to build a barn before a home is built. Hang on, I'm having issues. All right, as you can see, the subject property is surrounded by some RSF2 zoning. To the north, we recently had a rezoning from RSF2 to RA. Here's the pictures of the subject property. Staff recommended approval. The Planning Commission also recommended approval at their meeting. and we see no issues with this rezoning request.
Commissioner, do you have any questions of Mr. Boykin?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, then I call this public hearing open for case number Z23-20, Smith property rezoning. Has anyone signed up to speak? Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak for or against this issue? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of case number Z23-20, the Smith property rezoning.
I'll second.
All right, I got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, second by Commissioner McKenzie, to approve case number Z23-20, Smith property rezoning. Any further questions? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next.
Yes, sir. Next up is case number Z2325, Marr property rezoning.
All right, this one is a request to rezone a little over 18 acres from rural agricultural to single family. The subject property is located in Planning District 30, just south of County Road 20 and east of Wilson Road. The property is currently undeveloped, and the applicant is asking to go to RSF1 for a single family subdivision. Here are the 11 factors we consider when writing our staff report. As you can see, that we felt like they met 4 of them. There was one that they did not meet, and then the other 4 were kind of questionable, so that's why staff has kind of remained neutral and did not give a recommendation. Here you can see the subject property is surrounded by RA zoning, and then there is also some RSF1 single family to the south and to the west. There is also a residential manufacturing housing park to the west. As stated, staff was kind of on the line between what to recommend from going from RA to RSF1. The Planning Commission did recommend approval at their Planning Commission meeting. Here's some images of the subject property and the adjacent properties. The current RA zoning requires 3-acre minimum lot size with 210-foot wide lots. But the proposed RSF1 requires 30,000 square foot lots with about 100 feet wide at building line. Staff feels that the current RA zoning and the requested RSF1 are both compatible with nearby zoning. However, a significant portion of the surrounding zoning will remain RA. This is one, it does not meet the master plan. It is showing that it's conservation development area. As stated previously, Planning Commission recommended approval, and on your screen is the proposed layout that the applicant would like to do.
All right. Mr. Joel, have any questions of Ms. Boykin?
The lot size, was it a .97, almost an acre? Is that correct? I can't.
Let's see, they're proposing the smallest lot size to be 42,000 square feet, but they can, if it's rezoned, they can go down to 30,000 square feet.
That's all I have.
All right. Go ahead.
Could you put up the pictures of the surrounding properties again? Like, you know, that picture that, slow down on that one.
I believe that subdivision is the one to the south of the subject property.
Okay.
And then you can see
Property to the north.
To the north, I believe it's a business, some kind of type of office, real estate office maybe, or accounting office.
Okay, and now pull up the map that's the, like
The
your
yellow
green and
and the
yellow.
green,
Yeah,
right.
okay. All right, that's good, thank you.
So that's Goldenrod Lane to the south, and that's RSF1?
Correct, yes.
Was Goldenrod Lane subdivision, Matthew, ever considered in a not conforming with the master plan?
So that previously existed, just historically prior to that being generated.
Commissioner, you have any more questions?
I don't, thank you.
Okay. All right, then. We call this public hearing to order for case number Z23-30, excuse me, 23-25, the Mar property rezoning. Is anyone signed up to speak? Anyone in the audience like to speak? Please come forward and just state your name.
My name is Jacqueline Engelman. I live directly across from the property that is in consideration. My family's been there since 1952. My concerns are, first of all, the two historic buildings that are on there, built by Ivar Anderson, and the fact that the outlets coming on to Wilson and that is going to directly impact the lives of those around, simply because we already have a lot of traffic on Wilson coming and going during the day, and especially in the mornings when they're headed out for work. We have a lot of people that, when it slows down, use that road for walking. I have seen them have to go over and get into the ditch in order to let people by, but the people who are going by also move over. So I'm asking you to consider not allowing 13 properties, but a very low-density property building for the residences there. And 13 is not low density. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next.
Kathy Barnett with Dewberry Engineers, representing the applicant for the project. And we did go through this with Planning Commission. We started actually with a PRD, which didn't seem to get much favorable response. We were looking for an RSF2 initially because we had a few lots on Mifflin Road that were smaller, 19,000 square feet. After listening to the public comments, some of the concerns were traffic, what was the intended use of the property. And so we have common driveways along Mifflin Road to help address that. There's 6 driveways proposed for that in order to minimize some of the traffic concerns. The concern also, because of the future land use, and I know that it was done on aerial photography, so it is heavily wooded. We did not identify any significant trees. However, this is not a tract builder proposed for this project. It is custom homes at this time, especially with the large lot sizes. So the lots are not intended to be mass cleared or mass graded, so that each homeowner can pick out their own site. The rezoning is the authority of the Baldwin County Commission, but we actually have to work with the city of Foley on their green space requirements and things to satisfy their subdivision regulations. Since they joined back in the ETJ, we've gone back and forth with who was going to control the subdivision, which is why you see green space proposed actually for the development. Or straight rezoning would not require that for our subdivision before you. As far as the historical building, that's the only one we didn't feel like we could fully resolve. It's not protected now. The homeowner could potentially, or the landowner could potentially save it, or potentially somebody else could purchase it and preserve it. I don't have an answer for how that's going to get protected. Unfortunately, it's not on the register yet. So if there are any other questions, that's kind of how we got to today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner, y'all, any questions?
The only question that I have, the developer, y'all, can you look at it, maybe something bigger lots?
They did look at it. Price of land's expensive.
I know, sure.
And so this is sort of, that's why we said initially we came in with 17, 18 lots, so we've peeled it back already to try to, again, respond. I guess the RSF 1.5 in this case would have worked really well for this size lot because they're close to an acre, the smallest one being just under an acre. Right. But obviously that zoning doesn't exist, so I don't know if you can, but we don't have a problem with you approving it. You can't, but if you could, we wouldn't have a problem with it minimum lot size as a condition for any reason, but I don't think you can do that. But if you can, we're fine with it.
Well, we're approving a rezoning. We're not approving your subdivision.
No, ma'am, you're not. Correct.
So you could do anything.
We could.
That's allowed in RSF1. So we need to clarify that. We're not approving your plat.
Right. I was saying if you could add a condition that allowed for a minimum lot size.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
And that's what the PRD does, which is why I know the county likes it, but our applicant didn't want to go that route.
That's fine. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Public hearing is now closed. Commissioners?
Okay, I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we accept Planning Commission's recommendation.
Got a motion made by Commissioner Ball to
I'll second.
approve, seconded by Commissioner Underwood. Any further discussion?
I just want to clarify one more time. We are not approving a subdivision. We are approving a rezoning. If it were a PRD, then it would end up coming to us. But we are approving a rezoning. And so it is other residential in that area, and it can be compatible. It is compatible. Wouldn't vote for it if it wasn't.
All right. Any other?
You don't have to where's the applicant? You don't have to, promises that you're going to do this. It is seeing just the larger lot sizes is a plus in my mind. Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to cram 3 houses on 1 acre, y'all are doing big lots. I live on a 1 acre lot in my subdivision, and it's a little bit over 1 acre, and it's nice to have a little separation from your neighbors. That's the only reason that I'm even considering this. Celine, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, can they come back and do something different if we rezone this?
If it's rezoned to RSF1, they would have to meet just the minimum lot size.
They can make them bigger.
They can make
them bigger.
So, I mean, and all that will still come back in front of us at a later date?
No, this is it.
Subdivision.
Okay.
Only if you decide to do a PRD.
Right, correct.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion? All right. If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay.
That passes 3-1.
I said nay.
So it's 3-1.
2-2.
It fails.
2-2. Okay. Then it fails right now. Okay.
I guess 2-2,
yeah. All right. Next.
And next up, we have case number Z2330, long property rezoning.
All right, the lead staff member for this rezoning was Rebecca. I'm going to present it. But the applicant is asking to rezone 1 acre from B2 commercial to RSF1. The property is located in Planning District 25 in the Fort Morgan area, just north of State Highway 180. The subject property is currently vacant, and I stated the applicant would like to go from B2 to RSF1 in order to build a single-family home. You can see to the west and east of the property, it is Zone B2. We've had a couple other rezonings in the area going from B2 to single-family in order to build a single-family home. This is the subject property. Joining properties. This is the current zoning requirements for B2 Neighborhood Business District, and this is the requirements for the RSF1. Staff, it looks like they met all of the requirements except for the proposal to conform to the master plan. Staff feels that this requested change is compatible with the surrounding uses. Staff recommended approval, and the Planning Commission also recommended approval at their last month's meeting.
Okay, y'all have any questions for Celine?
I have a question. It really probably not extremely relevant, but it would help my mind. How did all that become B2? Was that when it was brought into zoning?
That was the original zoning, yes.
You're kidding me.
No.
Never mind.
The only question that I have, and it has nothing to do with what we're doing, but it's the construction setback on a state route. and I think I've asked Frank or Mark did, and I'm sorry if I can't remember who I asked, but why does the state need to have that much of a construction setback?
That's always been.
I know, I understand that, but you can't do any kind of structures next to it, and I know there's never going to be a 4-lane. I know this has nothing to do with what we're doing, but it's just curious why they have to have so much setback. So, it'd be different if they were going to put a 4-lane down there.
Yeah, I can't answer it.
Sure.
Why, but it is what it is, and we can't deviate from that. And
No, I truly understand.
the authority to deviate from what the standard is.
That's right. I understand that. I just was curious. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, if not, we're going to call public hearing to order for case number Z23-30, the Long property. Anyone signed up? Anyone in the audience like to speak for or against this issue? Hearing none, public hearing is now closed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve staff's recommendation.
I'll second.
Got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to approve case number Z2330, the Long property rezoning. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Next, we have case number Z2333, Pinnacle Properties LLC, property rezoning.
All right. This rezoning, the lead staff member was DJ Hart, and I'm going to present for her. This is a request to rezone almost 2 acres from RSF1 to B2. The property is located in Planning District 8, near the corner of County Road 32 and Bankhead Boulevard. The current use is commercial. The proposed zoning is B2 Neighborhood Business District. The applicant would like to rezone the property to allow the existing commercial building to be utilized as commercial. Here you can see the large parcel that is zoned RSF1. It is surrounded by RSF3 zoning, and to the east is B2. You can see on the aerial photography there is already a commercial building on the subject property. This is the existing site plan. Planning District 8 was recently zoned, and this is a parcel that I guess got overlooked and was zoned to residential, but the applicant would like for it to be zoned B2 for the proposed use. Here's a picture of the building and the adjacent properties. The applicant did receive a building permit from the City of Fairhope prior to District 8 becoming zoned. So staff feels that this requested change is compatible. Planning Commission recommended approval, and staff also recommends approval.
Any questions? All right. All right, Tim. Call a public hearing to order for case number Z23-33 Pinnacle Properties LLC property rezoning. Is anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir. I have James Pittman signed up to speak.
All right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you all for your time. I'm James Pittman. I and my wife own Pinnacle Properties LLC, the landowner. This is a property that we've owned for many, many years. It was a fallow piece of property. We decided to develop it commercially early 2021. At the time, the City of Fairhope was exercising its extraterritorial jurisdiction over the property, went through their process and were permitted to build this building, submitted a site plan for the front building and 2 buildings at the rear. Interestingly, we did not get notice of the proposed planning district. It's my understanding that landowners don't get notice, which is kind of surprising. So I was not aware, even as a land lawyer, that this was coming online, nor were we given any opportunity to have a say. The planning district came online again, didn't get notice of the public input process, had already built the building at the conclusion of 2021. I won't get into the weeds, but there was a roundabout being constructed on 32 that really stopped us from having any rentability. And it was only at the beginning of this year when a couple of tenants were in the process of signing long-term 5-year leases that they called the Baldwin County Business License Department and were told you can't operate a business there, it's zoned residential, even though there was already a building on the ground and one tenant that was operational. Pinnacle is not the applicant. The Planning Commission is the applicant. I've talked to Mr. Brown at length, and he's been helpful in the process, and ultimately said, how did this happen? And as I understand it, perhaps the planning office was working from some old aerial photographs that showed the property as a field rather than the current commercial building on it. So that's why we're here today is trying to get it zoned consistently with how it's been built and used for the last 2 years. Happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else like to speak for or against these issues? Hearing none, the case is closed. Right, next, we'll hear a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve case number Z23/33, the Pinnacle Properties rezone.
I'll second it.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to approve case number Z23-33, Pinnacle Properties LLC property rezoning. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next.
Yes, sir. Next up is case number CSP 2328, Crane Recreational Vehicle Park, appeal for commission site plan denial.
So good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So this case was originally presented, just a little background, in August 3rd, and I'm sorry, I don't see the thing to make it full size. I have my glasses. Well, but it was denied. Staff had a neutral recommendation, and the Plan Commission denied it, and so this is an appeal. And this is for a 98-site RV park. This is in Planning District 29, the one that was proposing the changes earlier this morning. It's zoned RA, so RV parks are allowed as a conditional use. And I'll talk about the details in a moment, but 16 acres, 98 sites. Here's the location. And as you can see, the adjacent uses are all residential and zoned RA. The property to the south is, as you can see, forested and vacant, but the rest are residential. So in RA, you can have a low-density RV park that allows 9 units per acre, and this one, the proposed density would be 5.98. So it technically does fit the requirements of low density. There's some other requirements. You cannot live in an RV park in zoned areas and things like that. CSP was required because of its proximity to residential properties, and here you can see a site plan. Excuse me. The main reason that staff changed the recommendation to denial and that the Planning Commission denied it was the incompatibility with the surrounding area and with the FLUME, the future land use map. And I'll show you this first. The yellow, this is proposed for moderate development potential. The bright green is conservation potential, and the dark green is ideal conservation. So just to look at what that means, the yellow, which makes up the bulk of that area, is associated with single-family residential use, like RSF1 or 2, with a density of 1.5 to 2.9, and the proposed park was 5.98, so significantly higher than the land use designation. There were some proposed landscape buffers, and I do have details about that later in the slides if you have questions about those. But this is the main thing I wanted to point out. An applicant pointed out there are quite a few RV parks in the surrounding area, and I'll look at this in a second, but I just want to show you, this is a 1-mile radius, and you can see everything, for the most part, within this area is zoned RA. Now, there are a couple exceptions. This is B4, but it is actually vacant. There are a couple businesses on this corner, and then this is also zone B4, but again is vacant. So let me just show you some other RV parks that are nearby. This one is unzoned with approximately 6 acres per unit, another unzoned with 3 units an acre, another zoned RA, so similar to the one before you, 3.3, and so that's half the density almost. Now, the highest density is zoned RB1. This is 2 miles away, but so although they are approved for 15 units, in reality they have closer to 6. And then another one that's zoned RB1, again, which would allow the high density, and it has a density of 12, and so that's 3 miles away. So that's really not as close as the other ones. So as you can see, there really aren't any equal to this density that are close proximity. So staff recommends denial, and the Planning Commission denied it as well. So if you have any other questions, like I said, I have more slides that show drainage plans, amenities, and those things.
All right.
I have no questions, sir.
Okay.
I have none.
No. You got it? All right. All right, well, I'm going to call the public hearing to order for case number CSP 23-28, Crane Recreational Vehicle Park, Appeal for County Commission Plan denial. All right, Commissioners, y'all have any?
First up,
got anybody?
we have 7 people signed up.
Got somebody signed up?
Yes, sir. We have about 6 people.
Okay.
Start off with Jeff Moore.
All right, Jeff.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Moore, and I live at 30676 U.S. Highway 98, Alberta, Alabama. Thank you for letting me speak today. My wife and I own property next to the subject property. We purchased the home 23 years ago and fell in love with the rural setting and lifestyle. When we were looking at properties in the area, we evaluated the surrounding area and loved the rural setting with minimal commercial development. All commercial development was located near city centers or major intersections. The area where we live is not near a major intersection or city center. With the extensive growth in Baldwin County, rural living is being severely threatened. The proposed site for the RV park is in the middle of residential properties. All zoned is RA or residential. It does not fit into the area and will produce a strain on it. Traffic in the area, we have already had 4 fatalities in just over 1 year. And on Baldwin County Enforcement Board to make sure the park is following all of the RV park guidelines with the other 5 parks that are within 3 miles, they are already stretched beyond limits. As the zoning board has pointed out, they have 5 parks in the area. They omitted the Southern Comfort RV Park and Crossroads RV Park. From Comfort to Highway 98 RV Park on 91, there's already 6 RV parks in 5 miles. Crane would be a 7th in that stretch. The Zoning and Planning Commission met on August 3rd, and the board voted to deny the park. The zoning board is in place to make sure growth is compatible with the surrounding area. We hope the commission follows their recommendation and denies the appeal. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up is Tracy Gamble.
Ms. Gamble?
Hello again. I just have 2 words to say about this particular case, and that would be not compatible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right.
Next up, I have David Boykin.
Go to the next one.
All right,
Not here.
Next up is Doug Anderson.
Good morning. My name is Doug Anderson. I'm an attorney representing the applicant for Crane RV Park. As stated in staff report and by staff, this is a 16.4 acre parcel. We are applying for 98 units for RV Park located on 98 between Alberta and Lillian. As stated, this is zoned RA, and with site plan approval, a low-density park is allowed. And low density pursuant to your zoning ordinance is 6 units or less, and we meet that. We're at 5.98 units. The staff report also stated that there were no wetlands. A study was submitted to the staff. There were no wetlands on the site. A drainage report was submitted to the county, and it was accepted by the county. Also, a traffic impact study was submitted and accepted by the county. Can we go back to the map showing the flume? I'm not sure who's in charge of that. You are, okay.
I can't do it.
I think it was your second slide. Yeah. As staff said, this is a combination, but if you look at the site in blue, 80% of it is yellow. This is minute part of it that's green. Why there's a conservation area in the middle of this, I don't know, because there are no wetlands. So 80% of the site is yellow, and that does allow a moderate development potential. That's the classification, moderate development potential. And that allows, if I could turn the page, a community, an amenity-based community. And that's what we have here. This community will have pickleball courts, a clubhouse, a laundromat, and a playground. The zoning ordinance requires 3.2 acres of open space. We are supplying 7.26, double which is required. The zoning ordinance also requires 1.6 acres of usable open space. We have 6.2, 4 times the amount. As staff stated, at the Planning Commission level, they recommended approval with a condition. That one condition being increase the landscaping, the height and density of the landscaping. My client's willing to do that. Now they recommend denial, and I understand their position. They have to support the decision of their Planning Commission. But like she said, there's one reason that they denied it: incompatibility. Incompatibility is not defined in your zoning ordinance. There's no criteria. I'm wrapping up right now. Thank you. No criteria in the zoning ordinance to determine the compatibility. Every zoning ordinance, when you're looking at site plan approval or conditional use or a PUD, you have criteria to go by. I submit that without any criteria set out in your ordinance, the decision is arbitrary. The kicker here is that under RA, property owners could go in there and do a single-family residential area development. They could do a mobile home park without any further approvals. They could get a building permit because under RA, manufactured homes, mobile homes are allowed. So how can you differentiate between a mobile home park and an RV park? I say you can't, and any difference is an arbitrary decision. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay. Anyone else signed up?
Got Chris Lieb.
You have 3 minutes. Sorry. 3 minutes.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Chris Lee with the Engineering Company. I'm the engineer of record on the project. I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have on the engineering side of things, and I'd also like to reiterate that we are a community, amenity-based community within the yellow zone on the map that you have before you.
Okay. Y'all have any questions?
The only question I have is, and I think I've asked Matthew, is about the traffic study. US 98. It's not required to have one. you're going to have 98 units, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Minimum 50 to 60 RVs coming in there on US 98, and we don't require anything. So it's very mind-boggling for me to understand that. You know, we have that many RVs coming on US 98, so.
And so I will...
I don't know if that was a question, but it was just my statement, how I felt about that.
And ALDOT has the ultimate control over this. So we, you know, if this goes in favor of us, we will submit it to ALDOT, and
sure.
They may require a turn lane. We don't know at this time.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right, thank you.
The last one I have signed up is Bill Gonzalez.
Mr. Bill Gonzalez. All right, let's move forward, Mr. Chairman.
All right, nobody, that's it? Okay. Anyone else who'd like to speak for or against this issue?
Can I respond to his question? He posed it to the engineer, not me. Can I respond to that about the traffic impact study?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
My response, sir, would be that we still meet the minimum.
Sure, I understand.
And you could have 98 mobile homes there, 98 single families. Sure. So we meet the criteria. Thank you.
I understand what you're saying. Thank you.
Okay.
And I want to add to that just real quick, because he keeps comparing to mobile homes to RVs. Mobile homes are permanent structures. They're not going to go anywhere. Homes are permanent structures. They're not going to go anywhere. RVs come in and out every single day. So there is a huge difference between mobile homes
Technically,
and RVs.
The term mobile home doesn't necessarily exist anymore. It's a manufactured housing. Are you referring to a manufactured housing, a trailer? Okay, because that is not allowed by right in an RA as far as many units. You can, if you want to reside there and live in one, yes, you can do that, but you can't have 98 mobile homes and create a mobile home park there by right. Now, I can ask the planning department. I've been trying to pull it up myself. I can't find that anywhere in the RA's ordinance.
Charter permitted uses, and Matthew, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. In the charter permitted uses, it says manufactured home, mobile home.
That's not a 98 unit park, though.
That's correct. That is a single mobile
single one.
That is for one person to live there.
I didn't mean to mischaracterize it.
Well, we wanted to clarify that because you're stating that in an open meeting as your case.
Because I read it as that in the charter permitted
no
uses.
Harm done.
I was not trying to mislead you, I promise.
You won't mislead me.
I don't do that. But the charter permitted uses says mobile home.
Thank you, sir.
And so you can have a single.
Clarified.
You can still have 98 units there. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
All right.
We're ready.
All right. Anything else? All right. Well, we are closing this public hearing. All right. Next,
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, we accept staff recommendation to deny this claim.
And I'll second it.
I got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to deny case number CSP 23-28 Crane Recreational Vehicle Park. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. All right.
Mr. Chairman, before we get into the siting board meeting, can we take a 10-minute recess?
Yep, let's take a 5-minute break, or 10-minute.
Yeah.
I got something to drink. Session. We're back in session. At this time, we're going to other staff recommendations, correct?
Yes, sir. Under other staff recommendations, we request that you recess the commission meeting and convene into the Waste Siting Board meeting to discuss items FL1 and FL2.
Okay. I hear a motion that we recess this meeting.
Second.
All right. Got a motion by Commissioner McKenzie, seconded by Commissioner Bald, to recess this meeting and go into the Waste Siting Board. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Okay. The Waste Siting Board is now in session. The first item is the FL1 application for a permit to locate a transfer station adjacent to the Red Hill landfill. All right, commissioners.
Bear with me.
I don't have my thing in front of me.
What are we doing? Are we hearing
I
from
make a
anybody?
motion that we accept the request to withdraw this application.
Yes. So the item before you is a request to withdraw the application to permit and locate a transfer station adjacent to Red Hill landfill.
I make the motion that
I'll
we,
second.
yes.
All right, I got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, second by Commissioner McKenzie, to withdraw the permit for the location of the transfer station at Red Hill landfill. Any further discussion?
I would just like to make a statement that the process that this has come about, I think that it was very valuable. I think there was a lot of information that was brought before us, and I think that is the right thing is to allow this application to be withdrawn. The reason that you want to withdraw it versus deny it is that we do have a need for facilities such as this, just not in this particular location. And so the withdrawal gives the opportunity to look for other options, but not in this area. Okay.
We're going to look for other options, and then I can still reapply to the siting board when that area is determined.
Right.
Okay.
We to the second item?
We
got to call for the vote.
We haven't voted.
All right, I got a motion made by Commissioner.
I'll second the motion.
I
think Matthew seconded the motion, so we just need to call for the vote.
Okay, I need to call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, next.
The second item is the withdrawal of the permit application for the C&D landfill at Red Hill.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second it.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to withdraw the application for the permit at Red Hill landfill. Any further discussion?
I do have a point of discussion I want to make on that, to elaborate on exactly the same reasons for the first one, but I'd also like to say that when this process has been going on for quite some time, but it did not come to my attention that this area was zoned, and that there was a particular clause in there that no landfills would be located there, and I think that's very important that we adhere to that. So that is what I wanted to say.
And the only thing I like to add, Mr. Chairman, is that the safety is one of my concerns too. It was closed in 1990. I think if I give a take a little bit, that community grew a little bit in that time. So I just want to say safety with the schools and everything there. So.
Okay, I'd just like to say, we went through the process with this, and there were some things brought up in the public hearings that were said, and I think for some of it was unnecessarily, and it was kind of on abuse to our employees. Saying that we did not, screen our people and stuff like that. We do screen our people.
That's right.
We do a fantastic job screening our people.
And it wasn't
not hire, like they said in the thing was, pedophiles and all this other stuff. We don't do that. We screen our people very well. And for that to be said in a public meeting was uncalled for. And, but anyway, getting back to this, so that's one of the things I just wanted to make sure that, let's please, in the future, let's try to make sure you know what you're talking about before you go accusing somebody of that. That's very serious. Okay, so got a motion, second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you. All right.
Yep.
Mr.
Adjourn.
Okay.
Deciding board.
I got a motion.
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we dismiss the siting board meeting.
Second it.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to adjourn the Waste Siting Board meeting and reconvene the County Commission meeting. Okay.
Mr. Ryan, you're going to have an opportunity in the public comments.
We'll have public comment down here in a minute.
Yep.
Relative to this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's all, any public comment. Okay, next.
And next,
planning and zoning.
Yeah, next we have a temporary uniform zoning fee for the newly zoned districts pursuant to the Code of Alabama. There is, please note, a replacement item, staff recommendation revised to finalize action to be taken and resolution approving temporary fee added to the item.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve item FS1.
All right, got a motion made by Commissioner Ball to approve item number FS1, seconded by Commissioner Underwood. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
And nay.
You vote no?
I vote no.
He voted no.
Okay. So that the record was 3-1. Okay, next.
Okay, you got addenda, of course, GA1, GA2, we're taking under consideration and consent, so all we have left is GA3, the acceptance of the resignation of the clerk treasurer.
Okay, next one is GA3, correct?
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll second it.
All right, I got a motion made by Commissioner Ball, seconded by Commissioner Underwood to accept the resignation of our clerk treasurer, Ms. Cayenne Harris. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Right, next.
Commissioner requests.
Commissioners, y'all have any requests?
No, sir.
I've got one. Frank, if you don't mind, maybe after the meeting, I'd like to pick back up on, I keep having the family of Mr. Galen Gilligan keeps calling. We need to have a sit down with the family and move forward with a project that we said we would allot for him at Live Oak and Landing. Basically, what I'm calling it now is the Galen Gilligan Interpretive Center, which we have said and said that we had money for. We need to look into proceeding with that and making sure that we're on top of that and start to follow through with that. I can get with you and help you organize some meetings with the families, and we can get with anybody else that needs to be involved with that. The commission has supported this in previous commission meetings, and we just need to act on it, and so I can start eliminating some of the concerns, because we're reaching out and calling other people, state legislators and things like that, trying, and I want to get that on track with that, if you don't mind.
What are you talking about?
The little store at Live Oak Landing.
Oh, the store at Live Oak Landing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
We were going
okay.
to make it into a little interpretive center in honor of Mr.
I missed that
Gilligan.
store part.
Yeah.
Okay.
And anyway, thanks, Frank, for that. Do you have anything to say on that?
I was just going to say I've done some research on that based on some of our conversations, have some ideas I can share with you after the meeting.
Okay, thank you so much. No other requests other than that. we dealt with one yesterday, but I would like to control, I don't ever ask for anything for myself, but as a request, I continue prayers for my family and the passing of my mother, who was kind of like probably the only reason I'm up here today, not because of my dad, it's because of the leadership that my mom took on for me, and just continue prayers for me and my family. There's not much of us left, so I'm not asking for sympathies or anything like that, just prayers as we go through this, because it's very hard to sit up here and work these past 2 days and doing the duties of the county, conducting county business and planning funerals. I mean, that's just a lot of what people don't understand, but that's what we all four signed up here to do, and we're willing to do it. I don't need to add a boy, but prayers are needed, and because I've got other family members that aren't as strong as I am, and all prayers help. I know that they work because I feel them, and there's a lot of good people in this room from my community that I know that is praying for me, that knew my family, and when you don't have any left, it gets real, and so hug your loved ones. I guess that would be a request for me. Hug your loved ones if you still got them left. I really do appreciate that. Appreciate y'all's support during this time, and I'm going to continue doing what I love doing, and that's working tirelessly for this county and the betterment of the citizens of this community.
Any other commissioner request?
No, the only thing that I have is what I said in the work session yesterday. If we can just stay on that and look into it about the vehicles.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Underwood, you have anything? No. Okay. I don't have anything either. Senior staff report?
No, we have none.
Okay. American Rescue, ARPA plan.
We covered that. We covered that in the work
yesterday.
session.
Okay. Attorney's report?
No, sir.
Okay. Public comments now.
Yes, sir. I have
some signed up.
There's 4 people signed up related to Red Hill. I got a William Karzik. Okay. I have a Tim Murray.
Mr. Murray?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you all for your time. So I know the application was withdrawn for the 2 facilities there at Red Hill. I think the lingering question I have on that, though, is how do we ensure that it doesn't come back up?
Trust us.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. As long as it's not term, no, you can't say what happened in the future with other commissioners. So I'm just being honest with you.
And next up, I have Joe Ryan.
All right, Mr. Ryan.
I appreciate Commissioner Underwood saying that. Commissioner Ball said it yesterday to my wife. I feel like I know what we're going to do, this commission's going to do, but I can't speak for what other commissions or future commissions will do, and that's why I'm here. I addressed it previously with the zoning, and the zoning clearly states no landfills. I've had a hard time understanding how we've even gotten this far through this whole process. It doesn't really make any sense that you would allow it to go as far as it's gone with the zoning. The zoning just simply doesn't allow it. But here's a proposal. With all the contingencies that we've gone through, that y'all have gone through, you realize how the community is developing, the schools are developing. The Red Hill landfill, the sanitary landfill, was closed because it was contaminated. Now, I've heard different things or nothing to see over here from different people. Don't worry about that. Let's call it something else. It was an EPA Superfund site, and it will be for the rest of its life. It will always carry that label. Here's what I would recommend so that we don't go through this again. I propose that the current commission close the Red Hill Sanitary Landfill in perpetuity. By this action, future Baldwin County commissioners and residents can be assured that there will be no future environmental concerns on the property. It can be accomplished, I think, relatively easy by doing a deed restriction. And I'm going to call on this commission and y'all individually. I appreciate what you've done. You've been very concerned about it. But let's do away with it. Let's give these people and the schools and everyone the ability to move forward with not having to think about this again. I would appreciate y'all considering that. The other thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, you mentioned that others had things to say about the employees. I can tell y'all this. The highway department vehicles that come and go, the dump trucks and all those, have been very courteous in front of the residences that we have. What they do on further down, I don't know. They've been more than courteous in front of the houses or the residences that we're concerned with. How do we get to this, that I don't have to come back, or I don't have to, how do we get to where you would consider doing this in perpetuity so we don't have to come back to it? You've got legal staff. Oh, it can be done.
I just want to say that, you know what, we've accomplished a lot today, and we'll take your comments into consideration.
In that we trust you. Let's say that we do. Who's going to follow you? Who's going to follow?
You just elect us forever, and you don't have to worry about it.
Hey, I will tell you this.
You asked.
Joe, no matter what commission sits up here, and I sent this message to a few people yesterday because there were some concerns about the Solid Waste Authority Board having more power now than ever, and anything that Ms. Graham and the Solid Waste Authority Board will always have to come before the governing body for approval. It would take a 3-to-1 in any situation.
I understand.
To do anything. So, I don't know the answer to your proposal right this second. I think that would be something that we will be diligently, we'll work on that.
Well, I'm coming back for an answer.
I'll give you an answer right now. The grantor on a deed restriction can always vote to undo that deed restriction. So there's no way for you to say in perpetuity that a future commission couldn't vote to undo the deed restriction that's in the deed from the grantor to the grantee.
Brad,
it happens all the time.
You're a very learned person. I've learned that dealing with you over the years. If my recommendation won't work, find one that will.
I'll do whatever the commission asks me to do, Joe, but putting a deed restriction on it doesn't relieve that in perpetuity. Deed restrictions get relieved all the time when the grantor allows it. And so a future commission could do it. And you can't stop a future commission from voting on something that it has the right to do.
Zoning didn't stop it. If it had, it would have stopped.
Zoning did stop it for me.
Yeah.
That was the reason why that I felt like you could mitigate a lot of the other concerns. Seriously, I did feel like you could mitigate a lot of those. But whenever that zoning thing came up, that did it for me. So, you know what, it's
Do you feel like you were misled?
No, sir, not at all.
So
there's a lot of moving parts that go on to everything we do every single day.
Let me be clear, Commissioner. Zoning does not apply to county-owned property that is being used for a governmental purpose.
You're right.
And so
we could have overrode that.
And so,
but I felt like that was important.
And you can again, and that's the whole point I'm trying to make. You can.
Joe, just please trust us.
It has nothing to do with trusting you individually or Jeb individually or anyone else. What I'm saying is the next commission that comes along, if they're not aware or 3 commissions are not aware, let's do something so that we don't have to go through this again.
We don't have anything we can do to make you a solid guarantee.
You don't know that. You're saying that.
Well, Mr. Joe, why don't you just do it like you've done in the past?
Let's look at it and see, if there's anything we we can,
That's what I said, is that we would look into it, but as of right...
No, you just said there's nothing you can do.
No, sitting right here, right now, I don't know of anything. But you know what? We will look into it. I have done extensive research. I have spent lots of time, and we got to this point that we are at today. And we need to accept that we're not going to do it. This commission's not going to do it, okay? And then we can look into what you're asking, okay? Right now, from what I'm hearing from our legal, is that there's nothing that can guarantee, we're not guaranteed the next minute of our life, okay? Thank you.
The fact of the matter is the future commission could come in and condemn it through a right of eminent domain and turn it. I mean, you can't stop all future things from happening, and that's just the truth. And people might not like that answer, but it's the truth.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any other, buddy?
I have one more person signed up, and it's Emily Ryan.
All right.
I would just like to say thank you for listening to us, and thank you for hearing us. It's been a long journey from July 21st until now. We were disappointed in a no vote. It was my understanding, I was told that once it's voted no, that it's done. But if it's pulled or a yes, it can be changed. So, we have young families building houses on that road, and they have concerns. Of course, in the next few years, as Terry said, that in 5 years something's got to be done, and we don't disagree with that. We're happy about Novellas. We're happy about the growth. We just don't want it in our neighborhood, and we appreciate you listening to us. The school board and, the city of Bay Minette, all of them did not know. And from July 21st till today, we've come to hundreds and hundreds knowing. But we appreciate your vote, and we appreciate you taking care of this for us. Thank you.
Ms. Ryan, I want to say this. I didn't get to say it a few minutes ago. Do what you just did here in the last meeting. Show up, tell the future commissioners, whoever they are, and they'll listen to you. I have a feeling they will, if it ever comes up again, if we're not on the commission. Do what you just did. Come out and speak. So I appreciate what y'all did.
Ms. Emily, and I was going to piggyback kind of something you said about the hard no vote versus the pulling the request. I wasn't here. I was unfortunately in the hospital when you were having the other public hearings here. I was watching, and I felt my community's upset and pain in the process. One of the things you challenged us to do as a commission, and Ms. Graham as a solid waste authority, was to find another place. Ms. Graham cannot find another place if there was a hard no vote on this particular site. Pulling this request the way she did allows her to now, and for us to search for the place, because I talked with you on the phone yesterday, we're going to have something in the North Baldwin area for future growth. And so that's the reason. There was never even an option, I think, for us given to vote a hard no today without some serious consequences on the other aspect of things. Am I right, Brad, by saying that?
That's correct. There would be a freeze-out period if there was a no vote.
Right. So we wouldn't even have the opportunity to look for another place. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone here. We pulled this off and not going through, as long as us four sitting up here with this landfill. So it'll remain as what it is now, a dirt pit and a site for FEMA to set up in case of a hurricane, as we discussed, to produce some wood chips. And we're also searching for another place. I just wanted to assure you that that's what we're doing. There's no hidden agenda behind us, just pulling this off, and we're not going to come back to that site at a later time during our tenure and make it a landfill. As Commissioner Underwood said, and I told you yesterday, just trust us through this process. And I think once we solidify and possibly find a new site and construct a new transfer station and landfill, that option would never even be considered again out there by any commission if we already had the infrastructure in place before they get here. So I just wanted to let you know that, and I really feel like the future is bright for North Baldwin County, and as long as I sit in this seat and represent that district, I'm with you in protecting it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the explanation.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, there have been a lot of questions, and we appreciate your time, and our thoughts and prayers are with you and your
Ms.
family.
Ryan. Thank you so much.
Okay. That's it. Anyone else would like to speak about audit public and comments? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to let them know you don't have to sign up.
No.
If you didn't sign up and want to speak or say something, you're
speak
more than
now.
welcome to.
Okay. All right. Press questions. Okay. Commission comments?
That's a relief.
Sorry.
Okay.
Mary Helene Hall with AL.com. Could you speak a little bit to you mentioned that there's this, that this is going to happen regardless. Can you speak a little bit to the need of having this new waste project in Baldwin?
I'm not sure your question's saying happen regardless. What do you mean by that?
You all mentioned you need this new landfill, you need a new transfer station. It's not happening at Red Hill Landfill, but there needs to be a landfill.
So just to answer your question, we already have a transfer station. It just needs updating, and I think Ms. Graham is looking into updating our transfer station and make it bigger and better than what it is. So we already have a transfer station in Bay Minette. Considering the fact of the growth in the northern part of the county, there will need to be a landfill component at some point in time. That we do not have. And so that's what we are charged with, is to actually search for some land available to potentially have a landfill at one day, which is what's called a C&D landfill, not garbage, but construction debris, limbs, and that kind of stuff. Eventually that's going to be needed in the north end of our county because of the growth that's happening. No longer will we be able to travel, and it'd be crazy to keep traveling to McBride landfill and the other ones that are so far out the way when we have the potential to do some things in the northern end of the county. Not at Red Hill, but we've got to, they charged us, the community charged us with finding another place, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Is there, are there any other places being considered right now? Or is this
Not to our
Not at this
knowledge.
point.
I mean, the course of now since we shot down the transfer station part of it, we are going to have to do updates to our current transfer station, to meet the needs of what's coming in and coming out. So, but we already, like I said, we already have a transfer station in Bay Minette.
I had a follow-up question on if you had voted no today, you mentioned there was a freeze-out period. What were the limitations if the commission had voted no?
I believe it's a one-year freeze-out period where no other applications can be brought forth to the siting board.
All right. Any more press questions? Okay. Commission comments?
Who are we starting with?
You want to start with Matt. I'll go ahead. You want to start?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, go then. Start then.
So there's just we've had a busy day today, and this is our time to get to talk without having much rebuttal and all that kind of stuff. I like Commissioner comments, sharing positive things that happen in our community, and we've been having a lot. One of the things that I like to share is a couple weeks ago we hosted at Bicentennial Park our Old Time Days, which the numbers were bigger than we've ever had. Let me get to text message that I have that gives me a few numbers. We estimated that there was probably over 6,000 people on site at the property. 4,000 did check in, but we think about 2,000 just came in and walked in because there was no more parking. That is amazing. We had 71 vendors. Vendors were actually we turned some away because there were no more spots. Over 68 tractors in the tractor show and 32 antique cars. It was the biggest event that I've ever seen at Bicentennial Park, and it was all pulled off by our archives director and parks department, and it was amazing to see the outpouring of the community there, not from just Baldwin County, but from all over different states and stuff were there, and so they had no idea we had that park there. So we're getting on the map with Bicentennial Park, so expect some great stuff there in the future for Christmas. The lights there will be bigger and better than they were last year, and we've just got piggybacking off of that, we had a courthouse reenactment last week, which was a great little turnout for some drizzly weather, but that's always a fun event, again, put on by our archives department and our parks department. And the camaraderie that they have there, it's amazing just to be a part of that small little event. Roger came and took his first visit of that reenactment, and it was very neat to see. It's the first time ever that I have seen a department search and so many sponsors donated. If everybody in the community had showed up, you'd have won a prize, because Miss Felicia and her department did great recruiting sponsors for little door prizes. I don't know how many hundreds of little bitty gift cards and stuff we handed out, but that was all because the community buys into what we do, and they were willing to donate and give some stuff to market themselves as well. But the turnout, everybody that was sitting there should have went home with an envelope in your hand or something, because there was more prizes than there were people. So some people were going home with a couple of prizes, but we just can't do it without. This commission is going to go on and on about staff, and we always do it at this park, and that just goes to show you, when you participate in these events, you get to see I don't get to see the staff working firsthand, Monday through Fridays in their offices and stuff, but when you go out and see them hustling and bustling in these parks and stuff and actually doing the work. I know my child volunteered to help Miss Felicia all day long from 9 to 4, and she came home and slept for 2 days. So it's work, and she also came home with a baby possum. That's another story. I want to thank whoever that was that made my daughter feel bad about baby possums, because we are now raising one. I would be remiss, this was a news story last week, but it's got to be broadcasted to the public of what we do to strive to do things here and how we accomplish things. And I want to thank Frank Lundy for piggybacking off a project that we had with our Industrial Access Fund Committee in Montgomery and taking the lead on that. Previous engineers were pursuing our industrial access funds for the entrance and exits at our Novellis site, as well as the improvements on 287 that are going to be much needed once that project is up in full standing. We did a story and broke the news last week that we received a $5 million grant that is going to offset the cost the county would have to bear on that entranceway and exit and the improvements. So that's a huge win for this county to be able to secure, if I'm not mistaken, Frank, the largest industrial access grant ever granted to a county.
To my knowledge, that's correct.
Okay. So that's ALDOT believes in us. They're willing to invest their money to help us with a project. I want to thank a few key people in that decision-making process. In the news story, it did not get covered. The people that I thanked, of course, our highway directors, that went up to Montgomery for several of these meetings. Our Economic Development Alliance Department, who always spearheads the opportunities to chase down this grant money. Senator Greg Albritton and the rest of the Baldwin County Legislative Delegation was crucial in making this happen for us, as well as Director Cooper and his staff at ALDOT, which was instrumental in giving us this money for a much-needed project. That just shows that ALDOT is supportive of us and what we're doing, especially since we have one of the largest now manufacturing companies in the state of Alabama coming into our backyard. I want to just, Cayenne's not here today. I was just going to wish her good luck in her future endeavors in life, but I also want to thank the staff, Roger, and all your staff for, always stepping up, being there. We're not missing beats when it comes to when staff vacates and leaves. I just want to thank you and your staff and everybody that's in this building here that works for this county and making sure the meetings run right and in making sure that when somebody leaves, like myself, I take off a month for a little surgery. There wasn't no stand-ups or hang-ups or whatever. The county business goes on. If there was two of us out at one time, then it'd be a different story. We'd be having Zoom meetings from hospital rooms and stuff. But other than that, I mean, the employees here are, like Matt always says, it's the backbone of what we do. We're a small part of that. And thank you, Roger, for stepping up and filling gaps when needed. Thank you to your staff and everybody that works in here. That's all I've got to say. I know it's a mouthful, but that's the most I've ever said in a long time. So
It is.
I had to make up for lost time.
I don't know what to say now.
You just say ditto.
Yeah, that's right. Well, echo what Commissioner Ball said, but the deputy and the correction officer, I just, that's awesome for them to go ahead and retire and enjoy life now. So I don't want to forget them. Cayenne, with her leaving and going somewhere else, she will be missed. When I first got into the commission, she helped me, just like all the other staff did and the commissioners. But I just want to say, Cayenne, good luck to you, and you will be missed.
My turn. Ditto everything Jeb said about the archives department and the old time days. When I first came to commission and I saw the we call it the stealing of the courthouse down here. I wanted to be a part of that, and it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun. I'm already thinking about what I'm going to dress up like next year. It's a lot of fun to dress up in the period costumes. I didn't do theater in high school. Maybe I'm missing out on something that I might have wanted to have done. Can't play basketball and do theater. Anyhow, I just want to say that Baldwin County's got a lot of story to tell that I feel like we haven't been telling this story because we're so busy. We live busy lives. We have done some remarkable things at this county in the last short time. We have overcome a lot of things that came our way that also hit other people, and how we handled it, I think, is amazing. None of us asked for a worldwide pandemic, but it hit right here at home. None of us asked for a hurricane, but it hit right here. That might not have hit the whole world, but it hit here. And you know what? We overcame it. We're very resilient, and what we've also done is we have taken what was handed to us as a county commission and as a government, and the way the state gives the authority to counties. They don't give us the same type of authorities and the ability to do the things that municipalities are done. So we're pretty much at the mercy of the legislature to change laws for us, and when they seem to not want to do that at the rate and capacity that we would like to see it done, we had to figure out a way to do it without violating the law. And so what we did was we took and restructured the organizational structure of this county. We did that back about 5-6 months ago, and so far I remember the guy Sonny Brasfield from the ACCA, which is the State County Commission Association. He said, yeah, you're going to look back a year from now and say you did the best thing ever. You're going to say, whoo, we really messed up. But so far, it's the best thing ever so far. It is doing great. I want to thank all the staff members who have bought into the structure. I thank you, Roger, I think God sent you here. I do believe that. And thank you, Frank, for stepping up. And for everybody else that's in that structure to help make this county work. It is working well, and I'm very thankful for that. I wish that we, I heard somebody tell me if you don't tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it, and when they tell it, you can't never defend it if they tell it wrong. And so I've been hearing people say, oh, I heard the county ain't doing good. Well, you know what? Who's telling you that? Because it's doing great. And, we just think because we've got some of the best staff members that I know some people make decisions to go other places. Well, there's a season in everybody's life, There'll be a time when I won't be here. But the thing about it is, I am thankful for the steps that we have made and the strides that we're making. North Baldwin is experiencing some of the growing pains that the rest of us have had to live with for a long time down here. It's not easy. Change is not easy. How you embrace it is how you will get through it one way or another. And it's hard. It's hard. But I have to look for the good part about it, and I think that we're in the right direction. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else but here. Whenever I leave and go somewhere else, and if it's coming back on a plane or landing, I never forget one time my sister and I, we chose to fly out of New Orleans, and man, we came back from out west and we got off the plane, and it was in August. So you can only imagine the humidity and the heat. And when the doors opened up this is when the airport's been remodeled now, those doors opened up and that heat hit me. I was like, whew, I forgot how hot it was here in August because you've been gone for a week. But man, I wanted to be like Dorothy and click my heels and say there is no place like home. So whether you were born and raised here, 5th generation like myself, or you chose to live here, this is the best place on earth, and I will never stop saying that. And thank y'all for listening to me.
Again, I just want to reiterate some of the stuff that, my fellow commissioner said. We've got a lot going on in Baldwin County. And we're very fortunate to be able to have a lot of this stuff that's going on. It took many years of planning and trying to do the right thing to get us where we're at today. We've got a great staff. I commend them every time because they are good. They do a great job. They're very conscious of what they do. And they're citizens of this county as well, and they understand what the rest of the citizens want in this county, and they realize that. And so they work hard at it, and do we get it right every time? Maybe not, but we give it the very best shot that we can. I've been doing this just a few years, and I think we've always made the right decisions to get to where we're at. And I'd like to bring up one other thing real quick. Cayenne has sent her resignation as the clerk treasurer. Are we going to appoint an interim? Because she is on all of the signatory bank checks and everything else. So we have to have somebody to go along with that other signature of a commissioner.
Yes, sir. I'm going to meet with her staff, okay, and talk to some of her senior people, and basically when we come back, depending on what we come up with, one of the things that could happen, we could actually have myself. Most counties, actually, the administrator is the clerk treasurer. Yes. Is the same place. So we're,
if they're not named, yeah.
Right. We have, and I want to meet with the staff, get a feel from what they are, thinking, what they, I want to get a good feeling about if we decide to name one of them interim. But no, we are definitely making sure we're not going to miss anything as far as being able to get stuff taken care of and paid. So we make sure the vendors get paid.
Just remember, Mr. Chairman.
I hate to interrupt, but I would like to say that could we just go ahead and appoint Roger as interim?
Because it's not our appointment, so.
Yeah.
We still appoint.
Well, yeah.
I mean, because she's leaving on the 3rd, our next meeting is on the 7th.
And really, probably that would, just saying that probably would work best anyway, just because, again, usually across most of the counties, and usually, I think actually in the past, the clerk treasurer has usually been the interim county administrator. So we're just going to do the reverse of what's happened before. I think that's a little bit cleaner in the fact that also that's my background. I've done financial statements. I mean, that's my strength is numbers, and I did financials for 20 years.
We get it, Roger.
I know. Okay.
Let him talk.
Well, I mean, I actually thought about that this morning, that would almost make more logical sense. So I was going to talk to you all about it, but yeah, that's right. She is leaving the 3rd. Our next meeting's not to the 6th, so I have no problem taking on that role.
Can we do it?
Yeah, we need to do something because.
Can we do that now?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we just go ahead and appoint Roger as the interim clerk treasurer.
I'll second.
He said he
All right,
seconded
I got a motion made by Commissioner Underwood, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie to appoint Roger Rundelman as the interim clerk treasurer. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
I got, one other thing that I want to mention is today is my last meeting as chairman. I will be turning the gavel over to Commissioner Underwood. She will be the new incoming chairman in November. So this is my last meeting as being chairman of this Baldwin County Commission. So I want to thank all the staff, all the commissioners for working with me this year. We've come a long way. We had a lot to do, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you all very much.
Now you brought up a whole nother talking point that was part of mine. But
next meeting.
Thank you, Chairman, for your leadership, and your wisdom and knowledge is always supersedes the three of us combined. We appreciate everything that you do, and we look forward to the next three chairmen in line, and you will still always guide us and be our kind of like our senior commissioner that knows everything, the ins and outs of things since you've been here the longest. So thank you for always helping us out, and always answering the phone and being there for us. We've got a good little team up here, so thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to save mine until the next meeting of hers, and I'll make a comment then.
Oh, Lord, what's he going to say about me?
Job forever. Could y'all go ahead and start working on
So
I don't know if I want to do this forever.
I promise you, I do not want to do this forever, but I do appreciate the opportunity
comment.
to serve. But Commissioner Gruber, I can't tell you how much I look up to you, and I appreciate you always taking the first leg of the 4 years, because it helps set the pace, and he's always answers the phone. I'm sure when he sees my number pop up, oh Lord, what she want? But we appreciate him so much. Oh, you call him a lot too?
That's all of us.
All right, thank you, Skip.
Y'all are welcome. All right, with that being said, do I hear a motion that we adjourn?
Yes, sir, I got that.
All right.
Second.
Meeting is adjourned at 10. All right, thank you.